This play is called Our Town. It was written by Thornton and produced by Avail Academy. In this play, you'll see Mr. Ritzema, Mr. Campbell, Mr. Kelderman, Miss Anderson, Miss Marcus, Miss Stewart, a few Dijkstras and Schumachers, and many others too numerous to mention. The name of our town is Grover's Corners, New Hampshire, just over the line of Massachusetts. Latitude, 42 degrees, 40 minutes. Longitude, 70 degrees, 37 minutes. Well, the first act shows a day in our town. The date is May 7th, 1901, just before dawn. Just about. Skies begin to show some streaks of light in the east there, back of our mountains. The morning star always gets a wonderful break the minute it has to go. Well, now I'll show you how our town lies. Up here, that's Main Street. Cutting it across to the left is the railroad tracks. Across the tracks is Polish Town. You know, foreign people come here to work in the mill. A couple of Canuck families in the Catholic Church. The Congregational Church is over there, and the Presbyterian's across the street. Methodist and Unitarian over there. The Baptist is down in the hollow by the river. Along Main Street, there's a Grove stores with kitchen posts and horse blocks in front of them. The first automobiles to come along in 5 years belonged to Banker Cartwright, our town's richest citizen. He lives up in the big white house up in the hill there. Well, this is our grocery store and Mr. Morgan's drugstore. Most everybody in town takes a look at these stores at least once every day.
This is our doctor's house, Doc Gibbs. That is the back door, and this is Mrs. Gibbs' garden. Corn, peas, beans, hollyhocks, heliotropes, and a lot of burdock. In those days, our newspapers came out twice a week. The Grover's Corner Sentinel. And this is Editor Webb's house, and this is Mrs. Webb's garden, just like Mrs. Gibbs, only it's got a lot of sunflowers too. Nice town, you know what I mean? Nobody very remarkable come out of it, as far as we know. The earliest dates up in the tombstones up there in the cemetery say 1670. There's Grovers, Cartwrights, Gibbses, Percys, same names as around here now. Well, as mentioned, it's early morning, and the only lights on in town are in a cottage over by the tracks, where a Polish mother just had twins. And in the Joe Kroll house, where Joe Jr. is getting ready to deliver the morning paper, and over in the depot, Shorty Hopkins is getting ready to flag the 545 for Boston.
Aye, there she is. Naturally, out in the country, lights have been on for some time now, what with milking and so on. But town folks sleep late. So another day has begun. There's Doc Gibbs coming down Main Street now, coming back from that baby case. And here's his wife coming downstairs to make breakfast. Doc Gibbs died in 1930. The new hospital's named after him. Mrs. Gibbs died first, though. A long time ago, in fact. She went to go visit her daughter, Rebecca, who married an insurance man out in Canton, Ohio, and she died there. Pneumonia. But her body was brought back here. She's up in the cemetery now with a whole lot of Gibbses and Herseys. She was Julia Hersey before she married Doc Gibbs in the Congregational Church. In our town, we like to know the facts about everybody.
Here comes Miss Webb to make breakfast.
That's Doc Gibbs. Got the call to go to Polish Town at 1:30 this morning.
And there's Joe Kroll delivering Mr. Webb's Sentinel.
Morning, Doc.
Morning, Joe.
Want your paper now?
Sure, I'll take it.
Has anybody been sick, Doc?
No, a pair of twins over in Polish Town. Oh, I hear your teacher, Miss Foster's getting married.
Yeah, to a fellow over in Concord.
I declare, what do you boys think about that?
Well, of course, it ain't none of my business. But I think when someone becomes a teacher, she ought to stay one.
How's your knee, Joe?
Fine, Doc. I never think about it at all. It's only like you tell me. It always tells me when it's gonna rain.
What's it telling you today? Gonna rain?
No, sir.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
Has you ever made a mistake?
No, sir.
Now, let me tell you something about that boy, Joe Kroll there. Joe was awful bright. Graduated the high school here at the top of his class. Got a scholarship to Boston Tech. Tech, MIT, that is. Graduated at the top of his class there, too. Gonna be a great engineer, Joe was, but then the war broke out, and he died in France. Yes, sir. All that education, for nothing. What business he had picking a quarrel with the Germans, we still can't make out to this day, but it all seems so perfectly clear to us at the time.
Get up, Bessie. What's the matter with you?
Well, here's Howie Newsom, coming down to deliver the milk.
Morning, Doc.
Morning, Howie.
Somebody sick?
No, a pair of twins over at Mrs. Krislovsky's.
Twins, eh? This town gets bigger every year.
Gonna rain, Howie?
Nah, fine day. It'll run through.
Oh, Bessie. How old is she, Howie?
Going on 17. Bessie's all mixed up about the route that sends to Lockhart. Stopped taking a quart of milk every day. Wants to leave them alone just the same. Keeps scolding me through the whole trip.
Good morning, Howie.
Good morning, Mrs. Gibbs.
Seems like you're late today.
Something went wrong with the separator. I don't know what it was. Doc?
Howie.
Children, time to get up.
Come on, Bessie.
George, Rebecca. Everything all right, Frank?
Yes, I declare, easy as kittens.
Bacon will be ready in a minute. Sit down and drink your coffee. You can catch a couple hours of sleep this morning, can't you?
Miss Wentworth's coming at 11. I know it's about 2. Her stomach ain't what it ought to be.
All told, you won't get more than 3 hours of sleep. Frank Gibbs, I don't know what's going to become of you. I do wish you could go away someplace and take a rest. I think it would do you some good.
Children, time to get up! Winnie, 7 o'clock!
I declare, you need to speak to George. Something's come over him lately. He's no help to me at all. I can't even get him to cut wood.
Is he sassy to you?
No, he just whines. All he thinks about is that baseball. George, Rebecca, you'll be late for school.
Mm-hmm.
George!
George, look sharp. Don't
Yes,
you
Mom.
hear your mother calling you?
Winnie, you're going to be late for school.
Well, I guess I'll go upstairs and catch 40 winks.
Winifred, you wash yourself good or I'll come up there and do it myself.
Mom, what dress shall I wear?
Don't make a noise. Your father's been out all night and needs his sleep. I've washed and ironed your blue dress for you special.
Oh my, I hate that dress.
Oh, hush up with you.
Every day I go to school dressed like a sick turkey.
Now, Rebecca, you always look very nice.
Mama, George is throwing soap at me.
I'll come up and slap the both of you. That's what I'll do.
We got a mill in our town, too. You hear it? Makes blankets. The Cartwrights own it, and it's brought them a fortune.
Children, now I won't have it. Breakfast is just as good as any other meal, and I won't have you two gobbling it up like wolves. It'll stunt your growth. That's a fact. Winnie, put away your book. Oh, but Ma, I gotta know all about Canada by 10 o'clock. You know the rule as well as I do. No books at table. As for me, I'd rather have my children healthy than bright.
I'm both, Mama. You know I am. I'm the brightest girl in school for my age. I have a wonderful memory.
Eat your breakfast.
I'll speak to your father about it when he's rested. Seems to me that 25 cents a week is enough for a boy of your age. I declare, I don't know what you spend it on.
Oh, Ma, I've got a lot of things to buy.
Strawberry phosphates. That's what you spend it on.
I'll see Rebecca comes to have so much money, she has more than $1.
I've been saving it up gradual.
Well, dear, I think it's a good thing to spend some every now and then.
Mama, do you know what I love most in the world? Do you? Money.
Eat your breakfast.
There's the first bell. Gotta go.
Children, now walk fast, but you don't have to run. Oh, Winnie, fix your skirt or you'll trip.
Be sure to tell Miss Foster I sent her my best congratulations. Can you remember that?
Yes, Mom.
You look real nice, Rebecca. Pick up your feet. Dear chick, chick, dear chick, chick. No, not you. You're not mine. Dear chick, chick, chick. No, not you. You don't belong to me. Fight, fight, fight. That's all you do. Dear chick, chick. Good morning, Myrtle. How's your cold?
Oh, I still have that tickling feeling in my throat. Told Charles I didn't know as I'd go to choir rehearsal tonight.
Have you tried singing over your voice?
Yes, but I can't seem to do that and stay on key. So I thought while I'm resting myself, I'd string some of these beans.
Well, let me help you. Beans have been good this year.
I said I'd put up 40 quarts if it kills me. Children say they hate them, but I notice they get them down all winter.
Now, Myrtle, I've got to tell you something. Because if I don't tell somebody, I'll just burst.
Why, Julia Gibbs.
Myrtle, did one of those second-hand furniture men from Boston come and visit you last Friday?
No.
Well, he called on me, and at first I thought he was a patient waiting to see the doctor. But then he wormed his way into my parlor, and Myrtle Webb, he offered me $350 for Grandmother Wentworth's highboy.
Why, Julia Gibbs.
Yes, he did, that old thing. It's so big, I almost gave it to Cousin Hester.
Well, you're going to take it, aren't you?
Well, I don't know.
You don't know. $350 Julia Gibbs won has come over you.
Well, if I could get the doctor to take the money and go someplace on a trip, I'd sell it like that. You know, Myrtle, it's always been the dream of my life to see Paris, France. Oh, it sounds crazy, I suppose, but I told myself that if we ever got the chance.
How did the doctor feel about it?
Well, I did beat about the bush a little, and I said, if I got a legacy, that's the way I put it, I'd make him take me.
What did he say?
Oh, you know how he is. I haven't heard a serious word out of him since I known him. No, he says, might make us discontented with Grover's Corner traipsing about Europe. Better let well enough alone, he says. Every 2 years we make it out to the battlefields of the Civil War, and that's enough treat for anybody, he says.
Well, Mr. Webb just admires the way Dr. Gibbs knows everything about the Civil War. I told Charles he had a good mind to move on from Napoleon over to the Civil War, but Dr. Gibbs, being one of the greatest experts in the country, just makes him despair.
It's a fact. Dr. Gibbs is never so happy as when he's walking through Antietam or Gettysburg. The number of times I've walked over those hills, Myrtle, stopping at every bush, pacing it all out, as if we were going to buy it.
Well, if that second-hand man is serious about selling it, Julia, you buy it. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. If that second-hand man is serious about buying it, Julia, you sell it. And then you'll get to see Paris all right. Just keep dropping hints from time to time. That's how I got to see the Atlantic Ocean, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry I brought it up. Only it seems to me that at least once in your life before you die, you've got to visit a place where they don't speak English and they don't even want to.
Thank you very much, ladies. Well, now we'll skip a few hours, but first, a little bit more information about our town. Mr. Webb! Editor Webb!
Oh, he'll just be a minute. He cut his hand whilst eating an apple.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Webb.
Charles! Charles, everybody's waiting.
Mr. Webb is editor and publisher of the Grover Corner Sentinel. That's our local paper, you know.
Well, I don't have to tell you, we're run here by a board of select men. All males vote at age 21, women vote indirect. We're lower middle class with a sprinkling of professional men, 10% illiterate laborers. Politically, we're 86% Republican, 6% Democrat, 4% Socialist, and the rest indifferent. Religiously, we are 85% Protestant, 12% Catholic, and the rest indifferent.
Do you have any comments, Mr. Webb?
Very ordinary town, if you ask me. Little better behaved than most. Probably a lot duller. But our young people seem to like it here well enough. 90% of them graduating from high school come to settle down right here to live, even after they've been away to college.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to ask Mr. Webb any questions about our town?
Is there much drinking in Grover's Corners?
Well, ma'am, I don't know what you would call much. Saturday nights, the farmhands go down to Ellery Greenhouse at the stable and holler some, and we have one or two town drunks, but they're always giving rewards every time an evangelist comes to town. No, ma'am, I'd say liquor is a regular thing in the home here. Except in the medicine chest. Right good for a snake bite, you know. Always was.
Is anyone in town aware of social justice?
Can you come forward where we can all hear you? What was it you wanted to ask again?
Is anyone in town aware of social injustice and
that could spend most of their time talking about who's rich and who's poor.
Then why don't they do something about it?
Well, I don't know. I guess we're all hunting, like everyone else, for a way the diligent and sensible can rise to the top, while the lazy and quarrelsome sink to the bottom. But it isn't easy. In the meantime, we do all we can to take care of those who can't help themselves, and those that can, we leave alone. Are there any other questions?
Mr. Webb,
Yes, ma'am?
Mr. Webb, is there any culture or love of beauty in Gover's Corners?
Well, ma'am, there isn't much. Come to think of it, some girls play piano at high school commencement, but they're not happy about it. No, ma'am, culture isn't a regular thing here. But I guess this is the place to tell you we have a lot of pleasures of the kind. We enjoy the sun coming up over the mountains in the morning, and we notice a good deal about the birds. We pay a lot of attention to them, and we watch the change in the seasons. Everyone knows about them, but those other things, you're right, ma'am, there isn't much. Robinson Crusoe in the Bible, and Handel's Largo, everyone knows about them. And Worcester's mother, but that's just about as far as everyone goes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Webb.
Now we'll go back to the town. It's 2 o'clock, and all 2,642 have had their lunches, and all the dishes have been washed. The children have gone back to school. There's a buzzing and a humming coming from all the school buildings. Only a few buggies on Main Street, horses dozing at the hitching posts. There's an early afternoon calm about the town. You all remember what it's like. Doc Gibbs is in his office, tapping on people, making them say, ah. Mr. Webb's cart is long over there. One man in Ted thinks it's a privilege to push his own lawnmower.
Emily walks simply. Who do you think you are today?
Papa, you're terrible. One minute you're telling me to stand up straight, and the next minute you're calling me names. I just don't listen to you.
Oh, excuse me, Mrs. Forrest.
You go out and play in the fields, young man. You've got no business playing baseball at midnight.
Please, sorry, Mrs. Forrest.
All timers these days.
Hello, Emily.
Oh, hello.
You made a fine speech in class today.
Well, I was really ready to make a speech on the Monroe Doctrine, but at the last minute, Miss Corcoran made me do it on the Louisiana Purchase instead. I worked an awful long time on both of them.
Gee, it's funny, Emily. From my window up there, I can see your head at night when you're doing your homework in your room.
Why, can you?
You really do stick to it, Emily. I don't know how you sit that long. I guess you must like school.
Well, I feel like something you have to go through.
Yeah.
I don't mind it really. It passes the time.
Emily, what do you say? We have a kind of a telegraph from my window to yours. And every once in a while you give me a hint or two, one of those algebra problems. Not the full answers, of course not, Emily. Just a little hint.
Well, I think hints are allowed. So, if you ever get stuck, George, just whistle to me and I'll give you some hints.
It is naturally bred, I guess.
Well, I think it's just the way a person's born.
Yeah. Well, you see, I'll be a farmer on Uncle Lou's farm. And he says that when I'm ready, I can come up and work for him. And if I'm good enough, I can just gradually have it.
You mean with the house and everything?
Yeah. Well, happy day back to baseball field. Can't keep talking. Good afternoon, Mrs. Webb.
Good afternoon, George.
So long, Emily.
So long, George.
Emily, come help me string some of these beans for the winter, will you? Well, George Gibbs let himself have a real conversation now, didn't he? Well, he must be growing up. How old will George be?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, let's see. He must be almost 16.
Mama, I made a speech in class today, and that was very good.
Well, you must recite it to your father at supper. What was it about?
The Louisiana Purchase. It was like silk off a spool. I'm gonna make speeches all my life. Mama, are these big enough?
Try and get them a little bigger if you can.
Mama, will you answer me a question? Serious?
Seriously, dear, not serious.
Seriously. Will you?
Of course I will.
Mama, am I good looking?
Yes, of course you are. Both my children got good features. I'd be ashamed if they hadn't.
Oh, Mama, that's not what I
have a nice, young, pretty face. I've never heard of such foolishness.
Oh, Mama, you never tell us the truth about anything.
I am telling you the truth.
Mama, were you pretty?
Yes, I was, if I do say it. I was the prettiest girl in town. Well, next to Mamie Cartwright.
Oh, Mama, you've got to say something about me. Am I pretty enough to get anybody, to get people interested in me?
Emily, now stop it. You make me tired. You are pretty enough for all normal purposes. Now come along and bring that bowl with you.
Oh, Mama, you're no help at all.
Now I think it's a good time to tell you about the Cartwright interest in building a brand new bank in Grover's Corners. Had to go to Vermont for the marbles, sorry to say. And they asked a friend of mine of what to put in the cornerstone for people to dig up 1,000 years from now. Of course, we're going to put in a copy of the New York Times and a copy of Mr. Webb's Sentinel. We're kind of interested in that stuff because these scientific fellows found a way of kind of painting all that reading matter together with kind of glue, silicate glue. That'll make it hold for 1,000 years, no, 2,000 years. Of course, we're going to put in a Bible and a copy of the Constitution of the United States and William Shakespeare's plays. What do you say, folks? What do you think?
You know, Babylon once had 2 million people in it, and all we know about them are the names of the kings, some copies of the wheat contracts, and the sales of slaves. But every night, all those families came down to dinner. Smoke would go up the chimney as the father came home. Same as here.
And even in Greece and Rome, all we know about the real life of the people is what we can piece together through the joking poems and the comedies they wrote for the theater back then. So, I'm going to have a copy of this play put in the cornerstone so that people 1,000 years from now will know a few simple facts about us, more than the Treaty of Versailles or the Limburg flight. So, people 1,000 years from now, this is how we were in the provinces north of New York at the beginning of the 20th century. This is how we were in our growing up and in our marrying, in our living and in our dying.
Well, let's get back to Grover's Corners. It's evening. You can hear choir practice going on in the Congregational Church. And the children are at home studying. Yes, the day's tiring down like a tired clock.
Now remember, ladies, music was brought into the world to give pleasure. Now try it again. Softer. Softer. Now you get it out of your heads that music is only good when it's loud. You leave loudness to the Methodists. You couldn't eat them even if you tried. Now try it again, tenors. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, I can't work it off. The moonlight's so terrible.
Emily, did you get the third problem?
Oh, which?
The third.
Why, yes, George, of course. That's the easiest of them all.
I just don't see it, Emily. Can you give me a hint?
Okay, I'll give you one hint. The answer's in yards.
In yards? How do you mean?
In square yards.
Oh, in square yards.
Yes, George, don't you see?
Yeah.
In square yards of wallpaper.
Oh, and wallpaper. Thanks, Emily.
You're welcome. My, isn't the moonlight terrible? It's choir practice going on. I bet if you hold your breath, you can hear the train all the way to Continent. Hear it?
What do you know?
Well, I guess I better go back and try to work.
Night-night.
Good night, George. No, that's better, but it ain't no miracle. Now, before I forget, how many of you will be able to attend Fred Hersey's wedding on Tuesday afternoon? Show your hands. That'll be all right. And remember, art thou weary, art thou lame? It's a question we get talk.
George, can you come down here a minute?
Yes, Bob.
Remember, Sunday afternoon, second verse real soft and just kind of die out at the end.
Make yourself comfortable, George. It's only a minute. How old are you, George?
I'm 16, almost 17.
And what do you want to do when school's out?
Oh, you know, Pa, I'll be a farmer on Blue's Farm.
So you'll be willing, will you, to wake up early, not to feed the stock, then hoe and hay all day?
Sure I will. What do you mean, Pa?
Well, I was in my office today when I heard a funny sound. You know what it was? It was your mother chopping wood. There you see your mother, waking up early, cooking meals all day long, washing and ironing, and still she has to go in the backyard and chop wood. I imagine she just gave up and decided it was easier to do herself. And you wear the clothes that she keeps nice for you, and eat the meals that she makes for you, and then you run off and play baseball, like she's some sort of hired girl that would keep around the house, but don't like very much. Well, I knew all I had to do was draw your attention to it. Here's an handkerchief, son. And George, I decided to raise your spending money 25 cents a week. Not, of course, for chopping wood for your mother, because that's some sort of present that you give to her, but because you're getting older, and I imagine there are things you want to spend it on.
Thanks, Pa.
Let's see, tomorrow's payday. You can count on it. Rebecca probably feels that she ought to have some more too. Wonder where your mother could be. Choir practice has never gone this late before.
It's only 8:30, Pa.
I don't know why she's in that old choir anyways. Doesn't have much more voice than an old crow. And traipsing around the streets at this hour, it's about time she retired, don't you think?
Yes, Pa.
My, it's late. Real nice choir practice, wasn't it? Myrtle weather. Look at that room, will you? Potato weather for sure.
Well, naturally, I did not want to say a word in front of the others. But now that we're alone, it's the worst scandal that's ever happened in this town.
What?
Sarah Simpson.
Now, Luella.
But Julia, attended orgies in the church, drink.
Now, Luella, we all know about Sarah Stimson and the trouble she's been through, and so does Dr. Ferguson. And if Dr. Ferguson decides to keep her on the job, then the only thing the rest of us can do is just not notice it.
Not to notice, but it's getting worse. No, it isn't, Luella. It's getting better. I've been in that choir twice as long as you have, and it doesn't happen near so often. My, I hate to go to bed on a night like this. Those children will be sitting out till all hours. Good night, Luella. Julia.
Good night, Myrtle. Can you get home safe, Luella?
Why, it is as bright as day. I can see Mr. Soames scowling out the windows now. You'd think I'd be at the dance, ladies, and then go carry on. Good night, Julia.
Good night, Luella.
See you on Sunday.
See you then.
You're late enough.
Why, Frank, it ain't any later than usual.
And stopping at the corner to gossip with the hens.
Now, Frank, don't be grouchy. Come out and smell my heliotrope in the moonlight. Isn't it wonderful? What'd you do all the time I was away?
Oh, I read, as usual. What were the ladies gossiping about tonight?
Well, believe me, Frank, there was something to gossip about.
Sarah Simpson, far gone, isn't she?
Worse than I've ever seen her. Dr. Ferguson can't keep forgiving her, can he?
Well, I guess I know more about Sarah Simpson's affairs than anyone else in this whole town. I'll tell you, some people just aren't cut out for small town life. I don't know how it'll end, but we might as well just stay out of it. Let's go inside.
No, not yet. Frank, I'm worried about you.
What are you worried about?
Well, I feel it's my duty to make plans for you to get a real rest and change. And if I get that legacy, I'm going to insist on it.
Oh, Julia, don't start with this again.
Frank, you're just being unreasonable.
Come on, let's just go inside. Before you know it, you'll catch a cold. And give George a piece of my mind tonight. You'll have your wood chopped for you. At least for a while, anyway. Oh, no. You start heading upstairs.
Always seems like there's something that needs cleaning up. You know, Frank, Mrs. Fairchild always locks her doors at night. Everybody in that part of town does.
Oh, they're all getting citified. That's the problem with them. They don't have anything fit to burgle, and everyone knows it.
Get out, Rebecca. There's only room for one at this window.
Well, let me just look a minute.
Use your own window.
I did, but there's no moon there. George, do you know what I think? I think the moon's getting nearer and nearer here, and maybe there'll be a big explosion.
Oh, Rebecca, you don't know anything. The moon is getting near. The people that stay up all night with telescopes will tell us about it. It'll be in all the newspapers.
George, is the moon shining on South America, Canada, and half the whole world?
Well, probably is.
Most of the lights in town are out. And you can see Constable Warren down on Main Street trying a few doors. Oh, and there's Editor Webb. But after tucking his newspaper to bed, winded down.
Good evening, Bill.
Evening, Mr. Webb.
Quite a move.
Yeah,
All quiet tonight?
Sarah Stinson's been rolling around a little. There she is now.
Good evening, Sarah. It seems town's quieted down for the night pretty well. Good evening, Sarah. Yes, it seems town is quieted down for the night pretty well. Perhaps we should do the same? May I walk along the ways with you? Good night.
Don't know how that's going to end.
She's seen a peck of trouble, one thing or another. Good night, Bill.
Good night, Mr. Webb.
Who's that up there? Is that you, Myrtle?
No, it's me, Papa.
Why aren't you in bed?
Oh, I don't know. I just can't sleep yet. The moonlight's so wonderful. And the smell of Mrs. Heliotropes, can you smell it?
Are you sure you haven't any trouble on your mind? Have you, Emily?
Troubles, Papa? No.
Very well. Just don't let your mother catch you. Good night, Emily.
Good night, Papa.
I never told you about that letter Jane Copa got from her minister when she was sick. Her minister wrote her letter, and on the envelope the address went like this. Jane Copa, the Crowfoot Farm, Gover's Corner, Sutton County, New Hampshire, United States of America.
What's funny about that?
Well, listen, it's not finished. The United States of America, continent of North America, Western Hemisphere, the Earth, the solar system, the universe, the mind of God.
What do you know?
Yep, and the postman brought it just the same.
What do you know?
Well, that's all for the first act, friends. 10 minutes intermission.
Years have gone by. The sun's come up over 1,000 times. Summers and winters have cracked away at the mountain little by little, and the rains have brought down some of dirt. Some babies that weren't even born yet have already begun talking regular sentences, and some people who thought they were writing on the stride have noticed that they can't quite mount the flight of stairs like they used to. Now their hearts fluttering just a little. Nature's been pushing and contriving in other ways too. A number of young people fell in love and got married. Yes, our mountains have been chipped away by fractions of an inch, and here and there a new home has been set up under a roof. Almost everyone in the world gets married, you know what I mean? And in our town there are hardly any exceptions. Almost everyone climbs into the graves married.
The first act was called The Daily Life. This act is called Love and Marriage. So it's 3 years later, just after high school commencement. That's when most of our young people jump up and get married. As soon as they finish their last examinations in solid geometry and Cicero's orations, they suddenly feel themselves fit to get married. It's early morning again. Only this time, it's been raining. It's been pouring and thundering. Mrs. Gibbs' garden and Mrs. Webb's here, drenched. All those bean poles and pea vines, drenched. All yesterday on Main Street, the rain looked like curtains being blown along. Don't know now. May begin again any minute.
There's the 5:10 train for Boston. Here comes Miss Gibbs and Miss Webb to make breakfast just as it was an ordinary day. Now, I don't have to point out to the woman in the audience that both these ladies they see before them cook 3 meals a day. One for 20 years and the other for 40, and no summer vacation. They raised 2 children apiece, and washed, cleaned the house, and never had a nervous breakdown. breakdown. Never thought of themselves as hard used either. It's like what one of them Middle West poets said. You gotta love life to have a life, and you gotta have a life to love life. It's what they call a vicious cycle.
Come on, Bessie.
Oh, and here comes having you something, Bessie, delivering the milk. And here's Cy Kroll, delivering the papers, just as his brother did before him.
Morning, Howie. Morning, Cy. Anything in the papers I have to know about?
Nothing much, except that we're losing the best baseball pitcher Grover Corners ever had.
Reckon he was.
Now all he can be doing is pitching hay.
Guess I can stop and talk if I have a mind to, Bessie.
And run bases.
Aye, mighty fine ball player.
I don't see how you can give up something that just to get married. Did you have Howie?
Can't tell, Cy. Never had no talent that way. Morning, Bill.
Morning, Howard.
You're up early.
Been seeing if there's anything I can do to prevent a flood. River's been rising all night.
Cy Kroll here's all broke up about George Gibbs retiring from baseball.
Yes, that's how it goes. In '84 side, we had a player named Hank Tuck. Not even George Gibbs could have touched him. Went down to Maine, became a parson. Wonderful ball player. Howie, how's the weather seem to you?
Well, it's been raining so heavy, here's hoping it clears up. Bill?
Howie.
Morning, Mrs. Gibbs.
Good morning, Howie.
Too bad about the weather. It's been raining so hard that maybe it'll clear up.
Certainly hope it will.
What it will be today?
Well, I'm going to have a house full of relations, Howie. Better make it 3 of milk and 2 of cream.
3 of milk and 2 of cream. Mrs. Newsom told me special to tell you as we hope they'll be happy. No, they will.
Thanks a lot, Howie. Tell your wife I hope she can make it to the wedding.
She'll be there if she can. Morning, Mrs. Webb.
Good morning, Mr. Newsom. Now, I know I told you 4 quarts of milk, but I hope you can spare me another.
Yes, ma'am. And 2 of cream?
Yes. Will it start raining again, Howie?
Well, as I was just saying to Mrs. Gibbs, as I hope it will clear up. Mrs. Newsom told me special to tell you as we hope they'll be happy. No, they will.
Thank you, and thank Mrs. Newsom for me. And we're counting on seeing you at the church.
Couldn't miss that. Come on, Bessie.
Well, Ma, the day's gone. You're losing one of your chicks.
Oh, don't say another word, Frank Gibbs. I feel like crying every minute.
Your groom's up shaving himself, only there ain't a lot to shave. Whistling and singing like he's I believe us. And every now and then he says, I do in the mirror, but it doesn't sound too convincing to me.
I declare, I don't know how he'll get along. I've washed his clothes, made sure his feet are dry, made sure he's got warm things on. Emily won't think of such things. They're too young, Frank.
I remember my wedding day, Julia.
Now don't start that, Frank Gibbs.
I was the scariest fella in the whole state of New Hampshire. Thought I made a mistake for sure. But when I saw you coming down the aisle, I thought you were the prettiest girl that I'd ever seen. But the only problem was, I had never seen you before. There I was in the Congregational Church, marrying a total stranger.
How do you think I felt? Weddings are perfectly awful things. Farces, that's what they are. Here, I made some.
Why, Julia? You see French toast.
Wasn't hard to make, and I had to do something.
How did you sleep last night, Julia?
Well, I heard a lot of the hours struck off.
I get a great shock every time I think of George and I'm to be the family man. That great dangling thing. I tell you, Julia, there's nothing so terrifying in this world as a son. The relationship between father and son is the darndest, awkwardest.
Well, mother and daughter's no picnic, let me tell you.
They all have their troubles, I suppose, but that's none of our business. Everyone has a right to those troubles.
Aye, people are meant to go 2 by 2 in this world. It ain't natural to be lonesome.
You know one of the things I was scared of when I married you?
Go on with you.
I was afraid we didn't have enough material for conversation to last us a few weeks. I thought we would run out and meet our meals in silence. But you and I have been married for 20 years now. We've been talking, and we haven't had any noticeable barren spells.
Well, good weather, bad weather, ain't very choice. I always find something to talk about. Did you hear Rebecca stirring around upstairs?
No, only the other year she hasn't been managing everyone else's business. She's in her room. I got the idea she's crying.
This has got to stop. Rebecca! understand.
Why can't I come in?
Well, George, you know as well as I do, the groom can't see his bride on his wedding day, not till he sees her in church.
Oh, that's just a superstition. Good morning, Mr. Webb.
Good morning, George.
Mr. Webb, you don't believe in that kind of superstition, do you?
There's a lot of common sense in superstitions, George.
Millions have followed it, George, and don't you be the first to fly in the face of custom.
Where's Emily?
Well, she's asleep. I haven't heard a sound out of her.
Emily's asleep?
Well, it's no wonder. We were up till all hours, sewing and packing. Now, George, this is what I'll do. You sit right down there, and you drink this cup of coffee with Mr. Webb. I'll go upstairs and see to it that Emily don't come down and surprise you. There's some bacon, too, but don't be long about it.
Well, George, how are you?
I'm fine. Mr. Webb, what common sense could there be in a superstition like that?
Well, George, on the wedding morning, the girl's head is full of, you know, clothes and one thing and another. Don't you think that's probably it?
Yes, I never thought about that.
The girls have to be my nervous on her wedding morning.
Which person get married with all that marching up and down?
George, every man that has ever lived has felt that way. It hasn't been any use. It's the women who built up weddings, my boy. For a while now, women have had it all their own. A man looks pretty small at a wedding, with all those good women standing shoulder to shoulder, making sure the knot's tied in a mighty public way.
Well, you believe in it, don't you, Mr. Webb?
Yes. Oh, yes. Now, don't misunderstand me, George. Marriage is a wonderful thing. A wonderful thing. Don't you forget that.
No, sir. Mr. Webb, how old were you when you got married?
Well, let's see. I'd been away to college and taken some time to get settled. Well, Mrs. Webb wasn't much older than what Emily is now. Oh, age hasn't got much to do with it, George. Not as much as other things.
What are you gonna say?
I don't know. You want to say something? George, I was remembering the other night the advice my father gave me when I was getting married. He said, Charles, he said, start off showing her who's boss. Best thing to do is to give an order, even if it don't make sense, just so she'll learn to obey. And then he said, if anything about her irritates you, her conversation, or anything, get right up and leave the house. That'll make it clear to her. And then he said, never let your wife know how much money you have. Never.
Well, I didn't exactly.
So I took the opposite of advice, and I've been happy ever since. So let that be a lesson to you, never to take advice from anyone on personal matters. George, you're gonna raise chickens on your farm.
What?
Are you gonna raise chickens on your farm?
Well, yes, Uncle Luke wasn't much of a chicken farmer, but I thought I'd
George, a book came into my office on the final system of raising chickens, and I would like for you to read it. I'm thinking of starting a small way in the backyard myself. I'm going to put an incubator in the cellar.
Charles Webb, are you talking about that incubator again? I thought that you two would be talking about things worthwhile.
Well, Myrtle, if you want to give the boys some good advice, I'll go upstairs.
Thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. Webb. Now, I have to interrupt again here. You see, we want to know how all this began. This wedding, this plan to spend a lifetime together. You know how it is. You're 21, 22, you make some decisions, and whoosh, you're 70. And you've been a lawyer for 50 years. And that white-haired lady by your side has eaten over 50,000 meals with you. How do such things begin? George and Emily are going to show you now the conversation they had when they knew that, as the saying goes, they were meant for one another. But before they do that, I would like for you to try and remember what it was like when you were very young, particularly the days when you were first in love. When you were like a person sleepwalking and you didn't quite see the street you were walking in, and you didn't quite hear, everything that was said to you. You were just a little bit crazy. Will you remember that, please?
Now, they'll be coming out of high school at 3 o'clock. George has just been elected class president of the senior class, and as this is June, that means he'll be president all next year. Emily has just been elected treasurer and secretary. Huh. There they are now, coming down Main Street.
Can we go relax tonight? That sis road was just the worst. I'll come other we have to.
Sounds good, Winnie.
Emily, can I carry books home for you?
Why, thank you. It isn't far.
Excuse me 1 minute, Emily. Bob from Little Lake's practice start without me. Give her a few long highways. I'm awfully glad you were elected too, Emily.
Thank you.
Emily, why are you mad at me?
I'm not mad at you.
You've been treating me so funny lately.
Well, since you asked, I might as well say it right out, George.
What is it?
I don't like the whole change that's come over you in the last year. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but I've just got to tell the truth and shame the devil.
A change? What do you mean?
Well, up to a year ago, I used to like you a lot, and I used to watch you while you did everything, because we've been friends so long. But then you began spending all your time at baseball, and you never stopped to speak to anybody anymore. Not to really speak, but not even to your own family you didn't. And George, it's a fact. Ever since you've been elected captain, you've gotten awful stuck up and conceited, and all the girls say so, and it hurts me to hear them say it, but you've got to agree with them a little because it's true.
Gosh, Emily. I had no idea such a thing was happening to me. Guess it's hard for a fellow not to have some faults creep into his character.
Well, I expect a man to be perfect, and I think he should be.
I don't think it's possible to be perfect, Emily.
Well, my father is, and as far as I can see, your father is. There's no reason on earth why you shouldn't be too.
Well, I think it's the other way around, that men aren't naturally good, but girls are.
Well, you might as well know right now that I'm not perfect. It's not as easy for a girl to be as perfect as a man because, well, girls get more nervous, and now I'm sorry I said all that about you. It's not true. I don't know what made me say it. Now I can see that's not the truth at all, and I start to feel that it's not important anyway.
Emily, do you want to get ice cream soda or something before you go home?
Why, thank you. I would.
Hello, Stu. How are you?
George! Emily! What can I do for you? What? Emily Webb? What have you been crying about?
Oh, she had an awful scare, Mr. Morgan. That hardware store wagon almost ran her over. Everybody says Tom Huckins drives like a crazy man.
Here, Emily, take a glass of water. You look all shook up. I tell you, you gotta look both ways before crossing Main Street nowadays. Well, what can I get you?
I'll have a strawberry phosphate, Mr. Morgan.
No, Emily, have a soda with me.
Well,
2 strawberry ice cream sodas, Mr. Morgan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 2 strawberry ice cream sodas. You know, I want to tell you that this minute I'm talking to you, there are 225 horses in Grover's Corners. State inspector was in here yesterday talking about how to bring in these new automobiles. Best thing to do is just stay inside. Why, I can remember when dogs used to lay in the street and sleep and nothing ever come to disturb them. Well, there you go. Yes, Miss Alice, yeah. I'll be with you in a minute. Yeah, I'm coming.
offensive.
Oh, no, don't think of that, Emily. We're celebrating our election. You know what I'm celebrating?
No.
I'm celebrating because I've got a friend who tells me all the things that you told me.
Oh, George, please don't think of that. I don't know what made me say it. It's not true.
No, Emily, you stick to it. I'm glad you said what you did. But you'll see, I'm going to change so quick, you bet I'm going to change. And Emily, I want to ask you a favor.
What?
If I go away to say agriculture college next year, will you write me a letter every once in a while?
I certainly will. I certainly will, George. It certainly seems that being away for years, you get out of touch with things, and maybe letters from Grover's Corners wouldn't be as interesting after a while. I mean, Grover's Corners isn't that important of a place when you think of all New Hampshire. But I do think it's a very nice town.
Well, the day wouldn't come when I wouldn't want to know everything about our town. I know that's true. Emily,
I'll try to make the letters interesting.
You know, Emily, whenever I meet a farmer, I ask if it's smart to go to agriculture school to be a good farmer.
Why, George.
And most of them say it's just a waste of time. You can get all that stuff from the pamphlets the government sends out. And Uncle Luke's getting pretty old. He's almost ready for me to come up tomorrow if I could.
Oh, my.
And like you say, being gone all that time, meeting other people, gosh, if it's anything like that, I don't want to go away. I guess new people probably aren't any better than old ones, but they almost never are. And Emily, I think you're as good a friend as I've got. I don't need to go to other towns and meet other people.
No, but George, maybe it's very important for you to go learn all about cattle, judging and soils, and those things. Of course, I don't know.
Emily, I'm going to make up my mind right now. I'm not going to go. I'll tell Pop about it tonight.
I don't see why you have to decide right now. It's a whole year away.
Emily, I'm glad you said what you did. About that, the fault in my character, what you said was right. Except there was one thing wrong with it. And that's when you said that I wasn't noticing people, and you, for instance. You said you were watching me and I did everything. I was doing the same about you the whole time. Why, sure, I always thought about you as one of the chief people I thought about. I always made sure where you sat in the bleachers and who you were with, and for 3 days now I've been trying to walk home with you, but something always got in the way. Yesterday I was waiting by the wall for you, but you went home with Miss Corcoran.
Oh, George, life's awful funny. How should I have known? I thought that maybe...
Emily, I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to agriculture school. I think that once you found a person that you're very fond of, I mean, is fond of you as well, and likes you enough to be interested in your character, well, I think that's just as important as college is. Maybe even more so. That's what I think.
I think that's very important, too.
And Emily,
Yes, George?
if I do improve and make a big, big change, will you be, could you be?
I am now, and I always have been.
Well, I guess it's an important talk we've been having.
Yes, yes.
Wait here a minute, I'll walk you home. Mr. Morgan, I'll have to go home and get the money to pay you.
Why, George Gibbs, do you mean to tell me that...
Yes, but I have my reason, Mr. Morgan. Here, take my gold watch until I get home.
No, George, it's okay. I trust you. Keep your watch.
I'll be back in 5 minutes, Mr. Morgan.
I trust you, George. Not a day over 10 years.
Ready?
Well, onwards with the wedding. There are a lot of things to be said about a wedding. There are a lot of thoughts that go into a wedding. Naturally, we can't fit them all into one wedding, especially not one in Grover's Corners, where weddings are mighty short and plain. In this play, I take part as the minister, which gives me the right to say a few things more. Yeah, you see, for a while now the play has gotten pretty serious. It's like what some churches say. Marriage is a sacrament. And I don't quite know what that means, but I can guess. It's like what Miss Gibbs said a few minutes ago. People in this world are meant to set out 2 by 2. This is a good wedding. The people are kind of young, but they come from a good state, and they chose right. The real hero of this scene isn't on stage at all, and we all know what that is. It's like what one of them European fellows said. Every time a child is born, it's nature's attempt at making a perfect human being. And we all know that she's interested in quantity. But I think she's interested in quality too. Maybe she's trying to make another good governor for New Hampshire. Well, at least that's what Emily hopes. Now, Well, that's all for my sermon. It wasn't very long anyway.
I don't know why on earth I should be crying. I suppose there's nothing to cry about. It's just, it came over me this morning at breakfast. There was Emily, eating her breakfast, just as she's done for 17 years. And now she's going out of my house. Suppose that's it. And Emily, she suddenly said, I can't eat another mouthful. And she put her head on the table and she cried. No. It's downright cruel sending girls up to marriages like that. It's cruel, I know, but couldn't bring myself to say anything. I went into it as blind as a bat myself. The whole world is wrong. That's what's the matter. Oh, look. There they come.
Hey, George! George!
You!
Look at him, fellas. He's scared to death.
George! Why acting so innocent, you old geezer? We know what you're thinking.
All right. Go on. That's enough of that. Shoot, come on. Get out of here. There was an awful lot of that kind of stuff in weddings. In the older days, Rome, and, later. We're more civilized now. Well, so they say.
George? George, what's the matter?
Ma, I don't want to grow old. Why is everybody pushing me so?
Why, George, you wanted it.
No, Ma, listen to me.
No, George, you're a man now.
Ma, listen to me for the last time. All I want to do is to be a fella.
George! Edward, you. Why, I'm ashamed of you.
Where's Emily?
Oh, George, you gave me a turn.
Oh, cheer up, Ma. I'm getting married.
Just let me catch my breath a minute.
Now, Ma, you stay Thursday nights. Me and Emily will be over every Thursday night for dinner. You'll see. Oh, Ma, you look all funny. Why are you crying? Come on, let's get ready for this.
Oh, I never felt so alone in my whole life. And George over there, I hate him. I wish I were dead. Papa.
Emily. Don't get upset.
Oh, Papa, Charlie, I don't want him.
Emily, everything's all right.
But why can't I stay for a while, just as I am? Let's go somewhere.
No, Emily. Stop and think a minute.
Oh, but don't you remember what you used to say all the time? When I was your girl. Must be someplace we can go to. I work for you. I can keep house.
No, Emily. You mustn't think such things. You're just nervous. Now. George! George, will you come here a minute? You're marrying the best young fellow in the world. George is a fine fellow.
But Papa...
George, I'm giving away my daughter. Do you think you can take care of her?
Mr. Webb, I want to try. Emily, I'm going to do my best. I love you, Emily. I need you.
Won't you love me? Then help me. All I want is for someone to love me.
I will, Emily. I'll try.
And I mean forever. Do you hear? Forever and ever.
Come on now. They're waiting for us. Now you know everything will be all right.
George, take Emily.
Perfectly lovely wedding.
Wedding.
Loveliest wedding I ever saw. Oh, I do love your wedding. Don't you, Richard? You go really bride.
Heart.
I do.
And Emily, do you take George?
Don't know what I was. I love the wedding. But I always cry. I don't know what it is. I always cry. I just want to see young people happy. I do lovely.
my day. Do I believe in it? I suppose I do. Marys and millions of them. The go-kart, the cottage, the Sunday afternoon drives in the Ford, the first rheumatism, the grandchildren, the second rheumatism, the deathbed, the reading of the will. Once in 1,000 times it's, interesting.
Aren't they a lovely couple? Oh, I've never seen a nice wedding before. I'm sure they'll be happy. I always say happiness is a good thing. It's always important to be happy.
Well, that's all for the second act, folks. There'll be another 10-minute intermission.
This time, 9 years have gone by, friends. Summer 1913. Gradual changes in growers' corners. Horses getting rare, farmers coming in town now with hordes. Everybody locks their house doors now at night. Ain't been any burglars yet, but everybody's heard about it. If you come up here on a fine afternoon, you can see range on range of hills. Awful blue inland, up there by Lake Shakopee and Lake Winnipesaukee. And if you come way up, you can see the White Mountains and Mount Washington, where North Conway and Conway is. And of course, our favorite mountain, Mount Monadnocks, right here. And around it, these towns like Jaffrey and North Jaffrey, Petersboro, Dublin, and there, quite a bit of ways, is Grover's Corners. Beautiful spot up here. Mountain laurel, lilacs. I often wonder why people like to be buried in Woodlawn in Brooklyn when they might pass the same time up here in New Hampshire.
Over there are the old stones, 1660 to 1670. Strong-minded people who came a long way to be independent. Summer people walk around there laughing at the funny words written on the tombstones. They don't do much harm. And genealogists come up from Boston, hired by the city folks who look up their ancestors. They want to know if they're the daughters of the American Revolution or of the Mayflower. I guess that don't do much harm either. Over there are the Civil War veterans. Iron flags on the graves. New Hampshire boys. Had a notion that the Union ought to be kept together, though they'd never seen more than 50 miles of it themselves. All they known was the name, friends. The United States of America. The United States of America. And they went and died about it. Over here is the new part of the cemetery. There's your friend, Mrs. Gibbs, and Mrs. Stinson, the organist at the Congregational Church, and Mrs. Soames, who enjoyed the wedding oh so much, remember? And many more, like Editor Webb's daughter, Winifred, whose appendix burst while she was visiting her cousin on a camping trip up at Crawford Notch.
An awful lot of sorrow has sort of quieted down here. People just wild and free. Brought their relatives up to this hill. Mid times, sunny days, rainy days, snow. We all know how it is. A lot of thoughts come up here night and day, but there's no post office anymore. Now there are some things we all know, but we don't take them out and look at them very often. We all know that something is eternal. And it ain't houses, and it ain't names, and it ain't the earth, and it ain't even the stars. But we all know in our bones that something is eternal. And that something has to do with human beings. All the greatest people to ever lived have been telling us that for over 5,000 years, and yet you'd be surprised at how many people are just letting go of that fact. There's something eternal deep down about every human being. You know, the dead don't stay interested in us living people very long. Gradually, they let go hold of the earth, the ambitions they had, the pleasures they had, and the things they suffered, and the people they loved. It all just gets weaned away. That's how I put it.
afternoon. Now, let me see. Do I know you?
I'm Samuel Craig.
Gracious sakes alive, of all people. I should have known you'd be back for the funeral. You've been away a long time, Sam.
Yes, I've been away over 12 years. I'm in business out in Buffalo now, but I was in the East when I heard the news of my cousin's death, so I thought I'd come by a little and come and see the old home. You look well.
Yes, can't complain. Very sad like you were here today, Samuel.
Yes.
Yes, I always say it. I hate to supervise when young Christmas cake, and they'll be here in a few minutes now. I had to come here early. My son's supervising at the home.
Wait, this is old Grandma McCarthy's way. I used to do chores for them after school when I was younger. She had them there.
Yes, we brought Mrs. McCarthy here a number of years ago now.
And this is my Aunt Julia. I'd forgotten that she... Of course.
Yes, Doc Hughes lost his wife a number of years ago now. And today's another bad blow.
That's my sister Carrie's boy, Sam. Sam Craig. Always uncomfortable endeavor. Sarah.
Do they choose their own verses much, Joe?
No, not usual. Most of them believe in the verse.
This doesn't sound like my Aunt Julia. I guess there aren't many of those Percy sisters left. I came to visit my father and mother's grave.
Over there at the crags, that would be.
Right, she was the organist at a congregational church. She drank a lot, they used to say.
Nobody was supposed to know about it. She'd seen a heck of trouble. Took her own life, you know.
Oh, really?
They tried to help out, but of course, word got round. Chose her own epitaph. It isn't exactly a verse much.
Right, it's just some notes of music.
Oh, I wouldn't know what it is. It was written up in the Boston papers at the time.
How did she die, Austin?
Who?
My cousin.
Oh, didn't you know? She had some trouble getting the baby into the world. It was her second though.
And the grave will be up here.
There isn't much room near Gibbs's now, so they're opening up a whole new music section up there by Avenue F. You'll excuse me now while I see they're coming.
Who is it, Julia?
My daughter-in-law, Emily Webb.
Why, Claire, the Lord has been awfully money. What did she die of, Julia?
In childbirth.
Childbirth? How did I know about that? Wasn't like awful? Is that wonderful? Wonderful process.
Sarah. Now remember,
I remember Emily's wedding. Wasn't it a lovely wedding? I remember her reading class poems at graduation exercises. Emily was one of the brightest girls ever graduated. I've heard people even say that time after time. I called her on the new farm before I died. Perfectly lovely farm. It's on the same road we used to live on.
Bright Spark Farm. I always liked that hymn. I was hoping they'd sing a hymn.
Hello, Emily.
Hello, Biscuits.
Hello, Gibbs.
Emily.
Hello. It's raining.
Yes. We'll be gone soon, dear. Just rest yourself.
It seems thousands and thousands of years since Papa remembered that was my favorite hymn. Oh, I wish I'd been here a long time. I don't like being here. Oh, how do you do, Mrs. Gibbs? Mother Gibbs, George and I have made that farm into just the best place you ever saw. We thought of it all the time. We wanted to show you the new barn and a great long cement trench we got for the stuff. We bought it out of the money you left us.
I did?
Don't you remember, Mother Gibbs? The legacy you left us. Why, it was over join him less than 1,000 years ago. Oh, my little boy's spending the day at Mr. Carter's. Oh, Mrs. Carter, my little boy's spending the day at your house.
Is he?
Yes, he loves it there. Mother Gibbs, we have a Ford too. It never gives any trouble. I don't drive though. Mother Gibbs, when does this feeling go away? Being one of them, how long does it...
Shh, dear. Just wait and be patient.
I know. Look, they're finished. They're leaving. Look, Father Gibbs is bringing some of my flowers to you. He looks just like George, doesn't he? I didn't realize before how troubled and how in a dark flight persons are. Look at him. Oh, I loved him so. From morning till night, that's all they are. Trouble.
It's a little cooler than it was.
Aye, that rain's cooled down a little.
Those northeast winds always do the same thing, don't they? If it ain't rain, it's a 3-day blow.
But Mother Gibbs, one can go back there, into living. I feel it. I know it. Why, just for a moment I was thinking about the farm. And just for the minute I was there. And my baby was on my lap, as plain as day.
Yes, of course you can.
I can go and live all those days over again.
All I can say is, Emily, don't.
Emily, don't. It's not what you think it is.
But it's true, isn't it? I can go and live. Back there. Again.
Well, some have tried, but they slowly come back here.
Don't do it, Emily.
But I won't look over a sad day. I'll choose a happy one. I'll choose the day I first knew that I loved George. Oh, no. No. Why should that be painful?
You not only live the day, but you see yourself living it.
Yes?
And as you watch yourself, you know the thing that they down there never know. You see the future, you know what's going to happen next.
But is that painful? Why?
That's not the only reason why you shouldn't do it, Emily. Once you've been here longer, you'll see that. Our life here is to forget what was, and think only of what is ahead, and be ready for what is ahead. Once you've been here longer, you'll understand.
Mother Gibbs, how can I ever forget that life? It's all I know. It's all I have.
Emily, don't. It isn't wise. Really, it isn't.
But it's a thing I must know for myself. I'll choose a happy day anyway.
No. At least choose an unimportant day. Choose the least important day of your life. It will be important enough.
Then it can't be since I was married, or since the baby was born. I can choose a birthday, can't I? I choose my 12th birthday.
All right. It's February 11th, 1899. Is there any specific time of day you wanted?
Oh, I want the whole day.
We begin at dawn. Do you remember it had been snowing several days before? It stopped the night just of, and the roads had begun clearing up. The sun's coming over the horizon.
There's Main Street. Why, there's Mr. Morgan's drugstore before he changed it. And there's the livery stable.
Yeah, it's 1899. This was 14 years ago.
Oh, that's the town I knew as a little girl. Oh, and look, there's the old white fence that used to be around their house. Oh, I'd forgotten that. I love it so. Are they inside?
Yes, your mom will be down any minute. She's coming to make breakfast.
Will she?
Yeah, and if you remember, your father had been away for a few days on a trip. Came back on the morning train.
No?
He had been making a speech at an old college in western New York, Clinton.
There's Howie Newsom. And look, there's a policeman. But he's dead. He's died.
Morning, Bill.
Morning, Howie.
You're up early.
Been rescuing a party in Polish town down there. Got drunk and laid out in the snow drifts. Thought he was in bed when I showed him.
There's Joe Kroll.
Morning, Howie. Morning, Mr. Warren.
Morning, Joe.
Children, time to get up! surprise. Your father has a surprise for you, too. Not sure what it is myself. Oh, look, here it comes.
Where's my girl? Where's my birthday girl?
I can't go on. You're so young. You go so fast. We don't have any time to look at one another. I didn't realize. So all that was going on, and we never noticed. Take me back up the hill to my grave. First, wait. One more look. Goodbye. Goodbye, world. Goodbye, Grover's Corners. And Mama. And Papa. Goodbye to clocks ticking. And my butternut tree. And Mama's sunflowers. And food. And coffee. And new iron tresses and hot baths. And sleeping and waking up. Or if you're too wonderful for anyone to realize you. Do any human beings ever realize life while they live it? Every minute?
No. Saints and poets, maybe. They do some.
I'm ready to go back.
Were you happy?
No, I should have listened to you. That's all they are, just blind people.
Look, it's clearing up. The stars are coming out.
Oh, Mrs. Simpson, I should have listened to them.
Now you know. Now you know what it was to be alive. To move about in a cloud of ignorance, to go up and down, trampling on people's feelings. To spend and waste time as though you had a million years. To always be at the mercy of one self-centered passion or another. And now you know, and that is the happy existence you want to go back to. Ignorance, blindness. That ain't the whole truth, and you know it, Sarah Stimson. Emily, look at that star. I forget its name.
My boy Joel was a sailor. Knew 'em all. Used to sit up on porch evenings and tell 'em all by name. Yes, wonderful.
Stars, mighty good company.
Yes, it is.
Look, there's one of them. That's funny. Ain't no time for them to be here.
Goodness.
Mother Gibbs, it's George. It's George.
My Joel, who knew the stars, used to say it'd take a million years for that bit of light to come down to earth. Don't know how a body could believe it, but that's what he used to say. A million years.
Goodness sakes. That ain't no way to behave. You ought to be home.
Mother Gibbs,
Yes, Emily?
they don't understand, do they?
No, dear. They don't understand.
Most everybody's asleep in Grover's Corners. There are a few lights on though. Shorty Hawkins at the depot has just watched the Albany train go by. And there are a few people setting up late and talking. Yes, it's clear enough. The stars are doing their old crisscross thing in the sky. Scholars haven't really settled the matter yet, but they seem to think that there are no living beings up there. Just chalk or fire. Although, this one, it's straining away. It's straining away to make something of itself. The strain is so great that every 16 hours everybody lies down to get a rest. Well, it's 11 o'clock in Grover's Corners. Everybody's asleep in Grover's Corners. Tomorrow's another day.